Chapter 11, Math 92, video number 2. Again, the first page is just the formula that I also put it in video number 1, because we are going to use those formula again on the second part. So here we want to know how to solve a second degree equations. Second degree equation, its general formula is ax2 plus bx plus c equal to 0. And for us to find the x, you find the x from this formula. A, b, and c are coefficients, are the number, like a and b are the number sitting next to x and x2, and c is the number, the third number. So here, like I have minus 4x2 minus 3x plus 7. If I write that here, minus 4x2 minus 3x plus 7, and right under that I write ax2 plus bx plus c equal to 0. What is the value of a? Negative 2. What is the value of b? Negative 3. See, b is negative 3. And what's the value of c? 7. That's what you have it here. Now, in this case, this one is 4b plus 5 equal minus 7b2. I cannot determine a, b, and c unless I have the equation written in this form. Means the second degree should be first, and then the first degree, and then the constant, and the whole thing has to be equal to 0. So in this case, I need to move 4b and 5 to the other side, to the right side. So then I have minus 7b2 minus 4b and minus 5 equal to 0. And since they all have negative, we normally try to have positive for the power, the first one, because in the formula it doesn't matter, but that's what we try to do here. So we multiply everything by negative, so the whole thing would be the positive. So 7b2, 4b, and 5 equal to 0. Okay, so in that case you have a is, the value of a is 7, b is 4. Now we have the equations. We give you equation when we ask you to graph. Equation of the problem are normally written in two forms. If it's written in this format, if it's in the parentheses, then h and k is coordinates of the vertex. And a, it doesn't matter whether you have it in this form or that form, a would determine whether the problem open downward or upward. So in these problems, we are going to use these equations. And I write it here. So by doing that, I see that there is no a is 1. You don't see any number next to that. You could always put a 1 here, right? You could just write it like this, y equal 1 times x minus 5 to the power of 2 minus 16. So a is 1, h is 5, and k is negative 16. What is the vertex? Vertex is h and k. Vertex is h and k. So it will be 5 and negative 16. So I find that point, x is 5, and y is, and this is my vertex. A is 1. If a is positive, then function always open upward. See here? If a is positive, graph always open upward. Sorry. So a is 1, so I know from this point the graph going upward. Now, if I want to find vertical intercept means where the graph intersects the x-axis. We want to find this point. You know, this point doesn't have any x is 0, but it does have a y. So what we do is in these equations, you put 0 for x to find the y value. You put 0 for x, so then in a parenthesis, I have just -5 to power of 2, which is positive 25, because this is -5 by -5, so make it positive. So y is 9. This is this point. So I find 9, and I already have this point, which is 5 and -16, right? So I connect these 2 points. And since the graph is symmetric, you know, if I draw the vertical line here, which is the axis of symmetry, the other one is just the reflection of this with respect to that, because you could just copy this on this side, you know. But what they ask us to find is also the x-intercept. They want us to find these 2 points, the points that my graph intersect the x-axis. These 2 points do not have any y is 0. So what you do is, in the equations, you put y equals 0. See, these problems, y was equal to that, right? If you put y equals 0, means this equation has to be equal to 0. X minus 5 to power of 2 minus 16 has to be equal to 0. So we do that, and then bring 16 to this side. And then, remember, if you have something to power of 2 is equal to number, what you could do is you could just get rid of this 2 and put a plus or minus radical what you have with these numbers. See here, let's say I have x2 to equal to 16. We said x is plus or minus radical 16, or plus or minus 4, correct? You have b2 is equal to 9. So b is plus or minus radical 9, right? Means you just write a b, you don't have this 2 anymore. What if you have x minus 5 to power of 2 equal to 16? It's very similar. You have something to power of 2. What you do is you write this, and then you put a plus or minus that here, okay? Which is plus or minus 4. Now, you have 2 equations. One is x minus 5 is 4. The other one is x minus 5 is equal to -4. Why we have 2 equations? Because remember, you always come up with 2 answers. You always have 2 answers because of plus or minus. Now you solve each of these, like in this one, if I add 5 to both sides, then x is 9. This one, if I add 5, then x is 1. And that's what we did here. Okay, that's how we did here. You know, they're asking for domain and range. Remember, I said domain is if this goes all the way to -x and +x, domain is all the numbers. But y is stop here. Y is from -16 up. The graph doesn't go beyond -16. See, it doesn't go beyond -16. It doesn't go below -16. So start from -16 all the way to infinity. That is your range. Same thing here. These problems are very similar. So I'll put a solution for you. And then I'm going to have a copy of this online because we don't want the video takes that long. Same process, very similar to that problem. How to find a y-intercept, x-intercept. You put the equation. Same thing for this one. See, like for this one, for the range, it doesn't go below this, right? So You know, this graph, it has a y-intercept, you see that? But it never intersects the x-axis. This graph would never intersect the x-axis, so it doesn't have x-intercept. And we prove it here, look, we prove it that no x-intercept, because when I try to solve this, I have this. How come I didn't continue with this? X plus 2 to the power of 2 equal to negative 3? Let me show you. If I ask you to do these problems, you say, okay, so x plus 2 is plus or minus radical minus 3, right? But radical minus 3, if you use your calculator, it give you error, is undefined. Why? Because if the root of radical is 2, you cannot have a negative number. Or it doesn't matter what the value of x is. Whatever x is plus 2, when you raise it to power of 2, is always positive. This side is always positive. Because regardless of the base, when you raise it to power of 2, it's positive, and you have a negative here, so something is not right. That's why you don't have any answer for x, because there is no x-intercept. There are two more problems here. They ask you to use quadratic equations, okay? I have the solution for you here, just very similar to the other ones. You could just follow, okay? See, what I did, I write the problems, I write the formula on the top, so you could actually see that A is 1, B is 7, C is 10. All I need to do is take all the numbers and plug here. And remember, this line goes all the way to the end. The whole thing is over 2A, okay? Here. And you always come up with two answers. Why? Because it's the second power. Means you have 2. And I have the solution for 29. So I'm going to leave a copy of this online so you could actually see the solution. Same thing for 30 and 32. Now, here, we give you a few graphs and tell you which one match these equations. You know, in a general equations like this, C is your y-intercept, and A, if A is greater than 0, parabola open up. If A is less than 0, parabola open downward. We use these two properties, okay? In this problem, A is what? A is 1. See, 1x2, there is a 1 here. A is 1, so we know our parabola open upward, and the y-intercept is C, which is 10. See this one? Y-intercept is 10 and is open upward. Look at these equations. I wrote the general equation so you could see. Y-intercept, which is C, is -8. That means the graph hit the y-axis at -8. A is 1, so the graph opened upward, right? So this one does have y equal -8. But the graph opened upward. We know the graph, okay, is upward, right? So none of them has that type, because this one, intercept is positive 10, is not -8, so it's not that. This one, the y-intercept is 5, it has to be -8. This one is okay. Y-intercept is -8, but look, the parabola is supposed to go upward, not downward. So none of this is the answer. There is no answer for this one. Okay, you understand? So we have the y-intercept and position of the graph, whether it's going up or down. Again, these three, y-intercept is -8, they match, but the parabola going down, but we want to go up. So none of this is the correct one. Same thing. What is the A value? A value is minus 0.3. A value is a number sitting next to x2. It's less than 0, so we know the parabola going down. So it's one of these two. But the y-intercept is 8. Which one of these two has y-intercept of the 8? This one. Because this is a negative. Okay? So y-intercept is positive 8, and the graph going down. Another example. A is negative, so parabola going down. So it's one of these two. Y-intercept is negative 8. Isn't the same one? Yeah, I guess it's the same one. Oh, it is very similar, but okay, well, it's not similar because this is positive 8. All right, so intercept is negative 8 and graph going down. So this one match. Look, the graph going down and intercept is negative 8. 6x2. A is 6 is greater than 0. So we know the graph going upward. So it's either this or that, right? But there is no C in this one. You know, if I write the equation like that here, you don't have this and you don't have that. So C is 0. What was C? C was y-intercept. That means the graph would never intercept the y-axis. So what I did was I see which one of these two has this point 0 and 0. Where did I get 0 and 0? When you put x equals 0 here, what is the value of y? That is also 0. So 0, 0 belong to the equation. The only one who has 0, 0 and going up is this. So that's the correct answer. A is 1, greater than 0, is going up. So it's one of this is just 2, one of these two. But intercept is negative 5. This is a C. C is negative 5. Y-intercept is negative 5. So it's this one. Right? So look, if I write it as ax2 plus bx plus c, and I write that one as x2 minus 5, see? And there is no b. Y-intercept or c is negative 5. Again, 18 is the y-intercept. The only one who has 18 is y-intercept is this graph. And A is negative means the graph going down. Oh, it's going down. A is negative, the graph going down. That's not one, right? But we also have 0 and 0. This one doesn't, 0, 0 doesn't belong to this. This one has 0, 0, but the graph going up. We want the graph going down. So none of these three is correct. You understand? See, there are two conditions. One is because A is negative, the graph going down, right? So we think it's this one. But then 0, 0 is one of the points. See, this one, if I put 0 here for x, then 0 to power of 0 is 0 times minus 2 is 0. I want to know which graph has 0, 0. This doesn't have. The graph doesn't go through this point. So this is not the correct one. This one, the graph go from 0, 0, but the graph going upward, I need it downward, right? So none of this is the correct answer. Now, problem 17, it's they ask you to find the vertical and horizontal intercept. I have the solution here. See? When we ask you to find horizontal intercept, means you get it set y equals to 0. Okay? Means you take the whole thing equal to 0. You use the equations. They give you two answers. These are your intercept. So part A, they ask you to find those two. And then number 36, it's kind of word problem, 36. This equation is given, right? And B, C is the cost, and B is number of backpack. On the first one, they're saying you have 40 backpack. That means in the equation, put 40 for B and find the C. Then on part B, they are saying find the vertex. If you have equations like this, you know the vertex is minus B over 2A. See, the problem is they put a B and it kind of confused with a B here. This just B means the number that you have here, minus 12. 2 times A is the number you have here is 2 over 5. That gives you 15. When you want to find the vertex, you know, X and Y, X is always minus B over 2A. And for you to find the Y value, you need to, when you finish the X, when you find the value, you gotta put that back here or here in the B and find the other value. That's what we did here. We find this 15, then put it back for the B to find these. These are the type of problems that normally comes at the end of the homework, but obviously I don't see you're going to see something like that at the test. It's a lot of work. The part C is how many backpack can a school get in budget of 4,000? Means in this case, they give you the C value and they want you to calculate the B, and that's the solutions for it. Again, you see a copy of this online. That's the last problems. Very similar to that. The revenue and S is given. Okay. Here it just, one thing you need to watch, they're saying that, you know, the revenue selling from sunglasses, number of sunglasses, RS represent revenue in hundreds of dollars from selling S 100 pairs of the sunglasses. 800 pairs of sunglasses. First one is find the R when S is 800. Okay. Second part, they are saying, if we give you R, find the S. And this is also very similar to that. See, this is a solution for it. First, they tell you if it's 8, you put it here, you find the RS. But since it's in 100, you multiply by 100. Second part, they give you these numbers, and they want you to find the S. You have to use a quadratic. And the last one, they said the maximum. What's the maximum revenue? You know, this vertex, one of the property of vertex is this value give you a maximum or minimum number in the vertex. So when we in the problem, we ask it for the maximum or minimum means find the vertex here. Okay, so that would be end of this video.